Welcome back to the Art and Skill of Coaching, where I teach you how to coach. So today we are diving into a conversation every coach needs to hear, and it's the difference between being a good coach and a great coach. And if you tune into this podcast, I know you deeply, deeply care about providing quality coaching and improving your skills, and you want to be great for both yourself and your clients. So let's just start there by actually defining what makes a good coach versus a great coach. So I think a good coach is able to hold space. They ask thoughtful questions, they follow a basic model, and they get decent results. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is the foundation of good coaching. But a great coach develops over time, and they have a wide range of tools at their disposal. They're able to integrate evidence-based techniques and frameworks, and they know when to challenge a client and when to hold steady. And most importantly, they can work at a depth without destabilizing a client. That's the difference between good supportive coaching and great transformational coaching. Now, you can coast and serve some people and make good money as a good coach, but that's it. Like, your income potential will be limited. You will struggle to attract and retain high caliber clients. Your transformations will stay surface level. And as this industry continues to grow at the rate that we are, it's going to continue to get more crowded, and it's going to be hard to stand out. And it's also important to mention that I think, and I've noticed, clients are becoming more discerning. They probably already know a few coaches in their life, and they don't just want a supportive chat. They want results, and they will seek out coaches who can deliver on that level. So in this episode, I'm going to be covering 2 skills that every coach needs to learn to actually close that gap between good and great, which is also going to give you a sneak peek into my upcoming webinar, where I will walk you through the 5 skills that separate the good from the great. So today I'm going to quickly cover 2 of them, but if you want the full breakdown and you want all 5, and trust me, you do, make sure you grab your spot for that webinar using the link in the show notes. But let's go ahead and dive in. So here are the 2 skills that every single coach needs to develop to move from good to great, and they are framework and depth. Let's break this down, starting with framework. At some point, you are going to want to have some type of evidence-based coaching frameworks, because just showing up, just holding space, just being supportive and trusting your intuition or giving information is unfortunately not coaching at the highest level. That is a great foundation, and those are important soft skills to have, but great coaching does require structure, skill, and strategy. This means understanding cognitive patterns, aka common habits of thinking, types of thoughts, how those patterns develop, as well as knowing how to shift that for clients. It also means having some effective emotion regulation strategies and basic understanding of psychology, of neuroscience, so that you as the coach know why people think, feel, and act the way they do. This is imperative because so many coaches rely on inspiration and intuition and basic tools and recycled tools. And while those things can work, they won't always hold up when a client is truly stuck, or they lack awareness, or their commitment or motivation wavers, or their circumstances are very difficult to overcome. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Let's say you have a client who is continuously spinning in these negative thought loops. A great coach isn't just going to throw affirmations that way or tell them to do more self-care or encourage them to let go of those negative beliefs. They understand cognitive distortions. They know what reframing is. They know how to elicit and create clarity and commitment through skillful conversation. They have scientifically backed strategies to help regulate the nervous system. These are tools that are grounded in research and that can actually create lasting change. And the coach is able to bring those into the session, and that moves it from supportive to transformational. I'm going to go a lot deeper into this skill set as well as the other 4 in my upcoming webinar called The Coaching Gap, which will be free, by the way, but you will have to register to get access. So I'll throw the link in the show notes. But speaking of going deep, let's go ahead and move to skill number 2 that separates good from great coaching. And that is depth. So what this is the ability to go beneath surface goals, to go beneath surface emotions, and really understand and uncover root drivers and dysfunctional or maladaptive patterns without getting lost, overwhelmed, or causing harm for you or the client. And I think this is such a big gap for most coaches, even certified ones, because 1, it's not taught, and 2, it is safer to stay on the surface. I mean, talking about self self-care or sharing productivity hacks or creating calendars or tracking macros or fitness plans, that all feels tangible. That feels manageable. We can actually track that. But when you aren't able to actually help clients navigate depth, they will stay surface, stuck, or their results won't stick. So let me give you an example of when this skill set comes into play. I had a client one time who was dealing with procrastination issues. Now, they were very high up in a company, so this was causing some friction on their team. So on the surface, they identified as a high achiever and were looking for some support around task and time management. Now, when I started working with them, that's where we started. I met them where they were, but I was assessing the whole time. And what I realized within 2 sessions is that we had to work deeper because this was actually a response stemming from a core cognitive distortion of unrelenting standards and hypercriticalness. And once we named that and were able to identify when it started and the purpose it served and how it's impacting her now, the whole coaching process shifted and she actually was able to create sustainable results because we were working on the real issue, not just these surface level time management, productivity, and scheduling hacks. And like I said before, I am going to go into way more depth here. That is what the webinar is for. The webinar is actually 90 minutes versus a 9-minute podcast, and it's going to be pure coaching gold. And these are just 2 of the 5 skills that I'm going to be teaching in that webinar. So if you want to hear the other 3 or dive deeper into these 2 of framework and depth and apply them in your sessions, you need to be there, not just to become a more skillful coach, but because the coaching industry is becoming more crowded than before, the bar is still low, but clients are becoming savvier. They want results, and coaches who can consistently create deep, sustainable transformation are going to rise to the top. They're going to be able to charge premium rates. They're going to attract referrals. They're going to work with high-profile clients and organizations, and their clients will get better results faster. So if you're ready to move from good to great and finally feel that unshakable confidence and certainty and skill in your coaching practice and in your sessions, join me for this free webinar. The link for the coaching gap will be in the show notes, and you'll also find some other links in the show notes, such as the waitlist for our next certification class, The Art and Skill of Coaching, as well as our weekly free coach question of the week. Definitely take advantage of those as well. I hope you found this episode helpful. Please share it, leave us a review, hit those 5 stars, and hit the subscribe button so that you never miss another training to help you master the art and skill of coaching.